And we're back. Welcome back to Mingus on Tech for January 11th, 2017. I'm Ken Mingus, Executive News Editor at Computer World. I'm here with Keith Shaw, multimedia editor, for Network World.
Yep.
And
cool
Mike Uhura Dagonia, who, as you notice, has AirPods. Today we're going to be talking about CES. Keith's just back from the show. And I'm going to be asking Mike about the AirPods and why he likes them so much and how easy it is to make fun of him with them in.
I suppose I should stop listening to
you can listen.
Sports radio.
Listen exactly. No, so nice, Uhura. I like those. In case you don't get the reference, Uhura was on the original Star Trek back in the 1960s as the communications officer. She always had the thing sticking out of her ear.
We have to actually make that reference. People don't get that.
I think there may be some young kids may not realize it.
All right.
So, but anyway, CES. So CES just finished, and Keith and I were talking yesterday about some of the trends that kind of emerged from this year's show. So, tell me, what kinds of things did you find when you were there?
VR is big. It was a lot more companies showing off VR, whether it's new headsets or different components to headsets. I had a meeting with the people at Carl Zeiss.
Yeah.
You know, the people that make the camera lenses.
Camera lenses, yeah.
So they have a standalone headset kind of aimed at the Google Pixel, Google Daydream, the new version of Cardboard.
Right.
But they utilize their optics to make a better experience when you're using, kind of the Google Cardboard. And they're trying to position themselves in between that really, really basic level, but then less than the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift.
Because they're so expensive.
So, in between $100 and $200, you can now get something that will give you a really good experience, especially if you have a good phone like the Google Pixel.
Or an iPhone.
And they're also going to try to... You stop.
Is it iPhone compatible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they've got a cool...
So.
Getting it into the device is really easy and things like that.
Yeah.
They're also then trying to do some integration with Steam VR, which is all of the different games that HTC Vive kind of runs on. And they're trying to bridge that gap so that you could get that on your phone and play those types of games. And there's something called 6 Degrees of Freedom, where
that's a game
that allows you to move around, which is what the HTC Vive does.
Okay.
The other big announcements, I think the major big headsets like HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and they're all trying to go wireless. So you're going to start seeing, because right now you look like a Borg.
Yeah,
you have that on
attached
because you've got these wires that are all coming out all over the place. And so the goal is to get those wires out of there and then do all of that stuff wirelessly. So that's the next big movement in VR. I saw a ton of stuff. Like I've got a photo here. This is a photo of...
This is our future. This is what we're going to be looking at.
This company was showing off a VR chair
like WALL-E.
that moves around with you. So you've got the...
You could be on the bridge of the Star Trek Enterprise.
You've got the VR headset, and they were doing a roller coaster demo. You sit in the chair, and then it moves with you.
Yeah.
And the idea there is that when you're sitting stationary in a chair doing VR, your brain doesn't kind of comprehend that, and that's why you get the headaches and the motion sickness.
Yeah.
But if you're in this chair, you can now experience VR and not get as sick. They had two demos. They were doing one with the roller coaster, and they were doing another one with one of those horror movie type apps.
No, that would be cool. Where things are like jumping out at you and stabbing at you or whatever.
Yeah, and it moves, and it still moves, and yeah. But that thing is $7,000, that chair. So it's not going to be in your house. It'll probably be in like a VR gaming center or something like that.
It's a proof of concept, basically.
Here's another VR thing that I thought was interesting. It's a 3-player multiplayer kind of platform.
So it's like
called a Platoon.
A device that you're sort of on.
So you stand on that. Now you can play a game with 2 other people.
And you're all on this device.
And you're all on this device
at the
same time. Yeah, playing the same kind of game or demo. Again, because a lot of these VR things are shooter games and
so this is really
like
about entertainment, though, in terms of like practical uses.
Business
uses,
business use, enterprise stuff.
There is no business use for this stuff.
There were a couple.
As shown at CES.
Epson was there with its Moverio glasses, and so they're trying to integrate VR and AR as well. There was not as many AR companies as I thought there were going to be, given the success of Pokemon Go last year.
Right.
We haven't seen another AR app like that yet, and I think a lot of people are thinking that AR is going to be doing mostly on the phones rather than on standalone devices.
Yep.
But there were a bunch of AR stuff. It just, you'd walk in the hall and you would just be like VR, 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 VR.
Okay.
And then on the other half of
the trend.
The other half of the floor was drones. Now you're a drone guy, Mike. You would love a lot of this stuff that, like every booth that had drones had those nets up, and they were just showing the people
Well,
flying
you
those drones.
track the whole drone industry pretty closely. What was there was a new Phantom that had just come out that you were raving about?
It wasn't a Phantom. It was I was sent a demo unit of it was just a mini drone, but it had a built-in camera and it transmitted to
like a VR
headset.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a real combination of both.
Right, so you'd get the first-person perspective as you're flying through the house.
Like they had
essentially.
that helicopter, the EHang helicopter. That's the autonomous drone helicopter. They're gonna start flights this year, but not in the U.S. Like so, they're gonna let other people kind of get it. But then here's another company. So like this company, that's
Speaking of
a
drones.
drone, but it's only this big. If you just see how. It's a really, really tiny drone,
Right.
and apparently it folds up and can fit in your pocket,
Right.
and then you fly it with your phone, and apparently it lets you take selfies. So they're
Right.
calling it the selfie drone.
Right. We were talking about this last year,
Yep.
actually.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of that.
Yeah. So we're seeing companies like that, and then
Do you remember what the
this was-
cost is on this?
No,
roughly?
under 200, I think.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah. And then this was I think you'd appreciate this. This booth was letting people take pot shots at drones. So that on one side of the net, they would have people flying the drones.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you could line up and take your turn. It had like little tennis balls, and you would launch them at the drones to try to knock them out of the sky.
Nice.
Okay.
And I think they were trying to show, like, look how versatile these are. If you had someone firing.
Well,
a
now
gun
was
at
the
you.
drone like running away from? I mean,
You can't really see it
avoiding
in this.
the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
shots?
because they had people
So-
flying the drones on the other side of the net. Like
But does the drone have automatic technology?
no,
That
no, no.
allows
It was
to
still
evade?
it was skilled drone
Okay,
drivers
all right.
or pilots.
So it's basically going to depend on the skill of the driver as to whether or not the drone is going to escape the tennis balls.
Right. So apparently, in the South Hall, the back half of the South Hall on the first floor, just filled with drones and VR stuff.
VR,
That's
okay.
the big trend in terms of what was at CES. There was also a lot of smart home stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
yeah.
Alexa seems to, even though there was no real concerted effort by Amazon to sort of talk it up at CES, Alexa integration seems to be just sort of permutating out there.
There's a general feeling that if people are looking for some sort of centralized either app or platform,
Voice control platform.
it seems to be Amazon Alexa at this point.
Yeah.
Google just came out with their Google Home Assistant.
Yep.
Siri's still out there. Apple HomeKit is still sort of out there.
Right, but they don't really have a device
they don't-
like the
right,
Echo Dot. or
right.
the
Lenovo
Echo.
came out with one, but Lenovo's virtual assistant uses the Amazon Alexa technology. So, they're in a position where all of these other devices, like for example, this is a company called Stack, and they've got a smart
Oh, yeah.
light. So this is something that the light is hanging off of, and they just announced Alexa integration. You talk to a Wi-Fi vendor who's making the whole home Wi-Fi or the wireless mesh stuff, and then they go, oh yeah, and you can control some of the features via Amazon Alexa.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a bullet point that they're putting on their press releases is like, we've got Amazon Alexa
Well, even
integration.
Ford was talking about having Alexa integration. I mean, in cars now too.
How are you gonna like putting Alexa inside the cars,
Yeah.
like what Microsoft does with Cortana?
Right.
Yeah. So
Or you can just, as you're driving along, you can order things from Amazon that using Alexa.
right. So my only problem with it is that not all of the functionality exists yet with Amazon, and you're still reliant on the voice control versus kind of a centralized app that you can put on your phone. We're still at that part with all of the different devices that are out there that are smart home connected. You still have like an individual app, and there's not like an app for all the other apps yet because
There's
the
no way to glue everything together,
Well,
in
the
other
closest glue that you're getting is called IFTTT, which
Yeah,
is
if this, then that.
If this, then that.
Yep.
Which I always say if, like when I try to pronounce it. But that is very geeky. It's very program language centric. You really have to know what if this, then that means. And
if you don't
then
set up the
integrate it
chain
in.
correctly, it's not going to work. Slight, diversion here about Alexa because I just got one of the Echo Dots and been playing with it. Did you see the story last week about the little girl in Texas who was talking to Alexa and said, "I want a dollhouse," and like 2 days later, because you can order through Amazon with
Right.
Alexa. 2 days later, showing up on the doorstep was a $160 dollhouse and 4 pounds of sugar cookies.
Wow.
What was funny, though, a TV station in San Diego was reporting on this story, and the TV broadcaster said, Alexa, get me a dollhouse. And people who were watching that, who had Alexa
Yeah.
at home,
Yeah.
suddenly were getting these requests, do you really want a dollhouse?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this stuff is really cool and fun, but there are a lot of things that have to be worked out before you can You
yeah,
can make it work right.
Even in some of my meetings when they were talking about the Alexa integration, Alexa would then just turn on
Right.
because it's
if
listening.
you say anything
actively
that sort of
for the
sounds like
of
Alexa,
yeah.
it's going to come on.
All right.
And, you know, yeah,
I got
okay.
two goofy things for you.
Yes, okay.
All right,
We
so
like goofy.
this was. Can you guess kind of what that picture is?
A shredder.
A shredder?
Oh, that folds clothes for you.
Yeah, that's a laundry folding robot.
Okay.
So
Because that's what I've always needed.
because
what
yes,
I've always
because
needed.
folding shirts
I'm
is a pain
you
in
know,
the
sartorial
butt.
splendor here. Folding clothes is
You put the
important to
dry
me.
shirt here. You hang them all up. You push a button.
Alex could like
it goes
this.
into the machine and then it folds your shirts.
How much?
$750 to about $800.
Really? To fold
initially.
shirts?
Yeah.
It
I
saves
can-
time.
You know what?
People
For
don't like-
$700, I'll come over and fold your shirts.
Some
You know
people
what?
don't like
You know,
folding
for
shirts.
$700, I'll
Some-
be happy to fold.
You know, it got the crowds around this thing
Yeah, okay,
were
yeah, tuck
pretty
that away for
amazing.
future
No, the
use.
crowds were great.
I'm sure.
All right, so now this is a photo. Do you know what this is?
It looks like a bug. A
It
bed
is
bug?
a-
Is it a bed bug?
You're close.
It's like a mite.
Yep, it's a dust mite. And so this company was
I don't
showing
want one
off
of these.
it's vacuum cleaners.
Okay.
So those are like high pressure, polarizing ultraviolet light vacuum cleaners.
Death to mites, I
It's
presume.
really if you're a germaphobe and you know
So Howard Hughes would be thrilled.
this would yes if Howard Hughes were still alive
He would have several of
he would
these.
not be
Not to mention
you know,
the clothes folding robot, right?
that's just some of the goofier stuff that's
All right.
and
That's
again
not
CES
goofy. That's-
CES is one of those shows where
so
you
The
see
future
a,
of technology.
you know CES is one of those shows where you see a lot of things and you
That
see
may or may not
that-
become real.
and you see and you sort of look for trends. It's like you don't say like, oh yeah, I remember
This is
that
gonna
this
happen, this is gonna
product
happen, yeah.
debuted at CES.
Yeah.
It's more like this is what you see a lot of. So one year it's 3D TVs, one year it's 4K TVs.
Yeah.
You know, this year it was a lot of VR stuff,
Okay.
and you just sort of see the general trends rather than specific products. Now sometimes you do see specific products, and you're like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm never going to own this folding.
Did you see it
robot.
work?
Wait
Did you
till
see it in
wait till the
action?
price
Yeah,
comes down
I-
to $50.
Well,
Would you then?
again, if mass adoption
25?
happens, where you know, but no, the problem is where do you put it? Like everybody's
Think of
got
all the-
space in their
think
house
of all the
for
laundry folders will be put out of work.
well,
by
right,
this.
but look, you've got a washer space.
joke.
You've got space for a dryer.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of homes aren't built for now the space for the laundry folding robot, and it doesn't do sheets,
Well,
and it doesn't
forget
do socks.
Forget
Like-
it.
Like the worst part of folding laundry is doing the in and outs of the socks.
One last question about CES. You know,
Yeah.
we talked about in the past that the show, you know, these shows tend to run through cycles where they're small, then they get huge, and then they sort of seem to go past their peak. It felt like this year there was more going on at CES. It didn't feel like a show that's past its peak yet. Did it feel that way to you?
It
or-
felt like it was a little bit down in terms of attendance.
Okay.
It just, but again, I with my schedule, I do one hall on one day, and then I do
Well, it's
another
so
hall
big,
on the second day.
Yeah.
And it's still packed. It's still busy. I think because it was so close to the New Year this year,
Yeah.
it started 2 days after New
Right,
Year's.
right.
Or
Last
at least,
week,
you know,
yeah.
I was traveling on January 3rd.
Okay.
Usually, when you go on like the 8th or 9th,
It needs to be a little further
you need a
away
couple.
from
It
the
needs
holidays.
right. Then people kind of pay attention again. I don't think a lot of people were because they were still kind of off their holiday, you know,
Still recuperating.
hangover
Yeah.
type thing.
Moving on.
How's
real
that for a
quick.
segue? That
That's
wasn't- that was a
you know,
horrible one.
hangovers. Speaking of hangovers, let's talk about the AirPods. No, I wanted to talk to Mike for a couple minutes about the AirPods, which he managed to score. You cannot get these things really easily yet.
I was watching iStockNow.com.
That's how you found them, right?
Yeah, all morning. I was watching them all morning just to see.
Just
They're-
like
they're
reloading the site?
completely, yeah, they're completely sold out everywhere. But they were available in Ohio for about 2 minutes.
But you didn't
sometime
get,
this
you,
morning.
you got these in Providence.
I got these in
Rhode Island.
Providence. I got these in Rhode Island. But even now, again, weeks and weeks after they were supposed to be
I'm telling you,
shipping.
Tim Cook supply chain. You got to get that stuff right because this, you know. But anyway, you got them before Christmas.
Yes.
You've had now 2 or 3 weeks to really use them day to day. The question I have is, how do they work?
They
And
work
do they fall
well.
out of your ears?
They do not fall out of my ears, and I use them for everything from running to insanity workouts.
And you've shaken the head and tried
Right.
to get them to fall out.
I
and
guess I could do that now for the cameras.
Well, it would. You know, a demo would be useful because. And while you're doing that, how's the sound?
the sound is good.
Now these don't stick way down in the ears. They're,
No, they kind of just they
Sit
fall
in
into
the
that
air.
space.
Okay.
In between right there, and they
Good.
don't.
So you can
Yeah.
get your groove on, and
Yeah,
they're not
they-
going to fall out. You've used them running. You've used them lifting.
Right.
You've used them. You haven't used them playing basketball.
No. I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
That would be a disaster.
Right.
If
but-
someone hit you in the head with a basketball,
Yeah, I mean,
would
if
it-
you
Well,
hit
yeah,
them,
you can knock them
they
out.
fall out.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you
Yeah.
lost any of them yet?
No.
No, but I mean, you could have lost it and found it again.
No.
I lost it, and oh, there it is. I found it.
I think when you're paying that much money for them,
$159.
you're gonna pay attention.
You're gonna pay
on where
attention
they are.
to where they
I think that the jokes about losing them were like, well, yeah, you're gonna lose earbuds if you only pay $10 for them
Yeah.
or
Right.
$20 for
You
them.
don't care.
You
because
don't really
can just
care.
Replace them.
Right.
I just think they look goofy. I just think that the thing sticking out.
That's the one thing that has held me back from
Yeah.
getting them. I did get a set of Power Beats 3, which have the same W1 chip in
Right.
them, which in terms of the chip technology is amazing because
Right.
it's just instant connect.
Yeah,
You don't have
setting them up is a breeze. I mean,
Yeah.
it literally
And
doesn't
battery
get any
life.
simpler. And the battery life is great. I mean, these things by themselves last about 5 hours.
Okay.
However, this can charge them. There's like 24 hours of battery life in this,
Yeah.
And it only takes a few minutes to
Yeah.
charge. I mean, like you
15 minutes gives you like 3
like
hours
3
of charge.
right?
So, I
And,
mean,
and a little bit more than 15. Not a little bit more, maybe 15 minutes after that, and it's like fully charged.
And it can also save you a lot on car insurance. All right, sorry, that was a
Does it
bad
really?
Geico
No?
joke.
Okay,
All right,
yeah.
so I want to show you something.
Yes,
This
okay.
is these are called Skybuds, and so it's the same kind of concept. Is that these are truly wireless earbuds?
Yeah.
And now these are also things that you stick in your ears, but they don't have the
these look like they
same
stick further
kinda-
in.
these
Right.
these go into your ears just like this, and so you don't get the goofy.
You don't, but those.
But aren't they
that's-
blocking sound?
That's a shotgun. That's
no, they
essentially a
don't.
shotgun mic. It's a directional mic.
Yeah.
And the technology, the software kind of figures out.
I should have brought my Power
Which
Beats.
one
I
is
feel
better?
Left, I'm left out
The
here.
problem,
These guys got all
so
these
they've
tools.
got a software update
Might-
where they're going to allow for more ambient noise to come in.
Yeah.
The problem with these is that you have to kind of get over that whole fashion thing, because if you're wearing this, what does it look
Yeah.
like I'm wearing? Like a hearing aid.
Yes,
Whether it's in your
Gramps.
ear or the same
it
kind of
does,
thing that
yeah.
happened with the Bluetooth headsets.
What people
or
think
Bluetooth-
about you, does
Bluetooth-
that
what?
affect
But you have said
does that keep you up?
But you have said that people have given you grief and have
well,
said they
people
look
have
goofy.
said, yeah, but I flipped
And
them
you
off,
don't
and
care.
I've moved on with
you
my
get,
life.
You give them the angry man thing and keep
So-
listening to your music.
Well, I'm not that angry, but they do get 2 middle fingers.
Okay.
Well, you
So-
get, listen, you got a lot of
counts
people
as
that
But I'll tell you
that-
what,
that think about fashion.
People
when
on the other
they're
side
wearing
of
these
this,
things.
though, when I answer phone calls, they're
You
impressed.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they don't even realize they're on it. They're on headphones, and that's you can't say that with a lot of the stuff that's out there.
One of the things you had said though in the review when you wrote about this was that Apple relies a lot on Siri in terms of being able to,
Right.
turn the volume up, turn the volume down, switch
Right.
tracks, whatever, which is fine as long as you've got an internet connection.
Right.
So Siri will work. but
That's
without
the problem. Right. See, again, you need that internet connection, and this because there are no buttons on here. You are reliant on the Siri. So you can activate the Siri with a double tap, or you can change the settings so that it starts and stops the music with
Okay.
with a double tap. But the problem is, you need an internet connection to get Siri, and it'd be nice to get some functionality without that internet connection.
So-
And the other part is, let's say you're asking, hey Siri, here's a question. A lot of the time, she displays the results on the screen.
So you're gonna have your.
So
phone.
you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to pull out your phone anyway, which is Apple needs to do better.
I was
in
just
that
going to say,
case.
so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being perfect, 1 being loser, where would you,
Oh, this is
7,
around
8?
7, 8, because I mean, a lot of people have
room to improve.
right room to improve, but a lot of it is software based, and that can
Okay.
be improved.
That can be fixed easily.
Yeah.
Right, down the line. But setting up again, there's a lot of Apple says, hey, this is magical, like everything else we do. But this truly is setting up. This is truly is it's impressive. You put it next to your phone sees it right away. You press connect, and then every single one of your Apple devices tied to your iCloud account
yep.
has access to this now. And you only set it up once. You press the button once.
Yeah,
on one
ease of
Apple
use is
device.
what Apple is known for. And in this
Absolutely.
case, obviously, they hit the mark.
Absolutely.
Great.
So it's better than I thought it was going to be, because I've been trying out in-ear headphones for the last few months
Right.
in preparation for these, and this is the best
So we
user
will see
experience.
you be doing your Uhura thing for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, please keep calling me that. It's
I
always
will.
fun
I'm
when
going
you
to
do.
Uhura.
Good.
Okay, I
Good.
better go. Mike, thanks a lot for the AirPods. What is it? Ears on advice, I guess. Hands on.
You're
Ears
the
on.
editor. You tell me.
And Keith, thanks
truly
a lot for
wireless
CES.
earpods or
Yeah.
ear.
They're coming.
earphones, they're
They'll get here.
earbuds. Yeah.
Right.
For now, that's a wrap.